Hey, welcome to another little, I guess, mini episode of American Overwatch. So, most of you have already heard that the Democrats have announced an inquiry for an impeachment because of President Trump's actions or his quid pro quo with the president of Ukraine. And I think this is hilarious for a number of reasons. The first is they announced the inquiry with absolutely no evidence at all. First, let's start off with the whistleblower. Um, how is it that this whistleblower became aware of the information that he released to the Office of Director of National Intelligence? He wasn't there. He wasn't on the phone call unless somehow he tapped the president's phone or spied in some manner. There's no way that he was legally aware of any of this information. So the ODNI was like, "Yeah, no, we're not going to do anything." And the Department of Justice said, "It's all hearsay. You got nothing, so we're not going to do anything." So then President Trump is like, "No, I'm not. I'm not going to do anything." And then the Democrats all went freaking nuts, and they're like, "We're gonna do an inquiry. We're gonna do an impeachment inquiry, and we're gonna figure this out." So like all six of their committees are going nuts. Elijah Cummings was like, "Oh, this isn't going to be the end of it," and it's just ridiculous, absolutely nuts. So I love this about President Trump, right? So he knows what he said because he was there when he said it. And he says, he's thinking to himself, "Well, I'll let this fester for a couple of days. We'll let it brew. We'll let him get, all hyped up, and we'll let him build it up." And then, sure enough, Nancy Pelosi comes out and does her speech last night, I think around 5 o'clock. And so then afterwards, he goes, "Oh, we'll just release everything. Unredacted, totally unredacted." He made a phone call to the president of Ukraine, said, "Hey, would you mind if I publicly released all of our transcripts? Unredacted?" President of Ukraine's like, "No, not at all. Go ahead." And then they're going to release the whistleblower's complaint. So they release the transcript of the phone call and the whistleblower's complaint. We're going to know about that here in a few minutes, or in a couple hours maybe. And they're going to be like, "Ooh, we got nothing." So they're just going to look like a bunch of fools, as they always have. I mean, listen, they have somewhere since early 2000 or late 2016, early 2017, February of 2017, um, California Democratic Party congressional candidate Boyd Roberts tried, started an impeach Trump pack, and ever since then they've been trying to impeach him. They appointed in May of 2017. They appointed the special counsel investigation due to the Russia collusion. I mean, I feel like they've had 4 or 5 times where they've tried to draft articles of impeachment against President Trump. I mean, this literally goes to show you just how absolutely mind-boggling this is. So my question is, if the whistleblower had no firsthand knowledge of anything, unless he spied, which is unlikely, but if he had no firsthand knowledge about anything, why would he come forward to the ODNI and disclose information that he had no idea about, he didn't know anything about? And so that tells me that if you look here, Rudy Giuliani, which is just an absolute amazing guy, just an amazing guy, he starts to point out some of the evidence inside how some of this is starting to come about. Well, Hunter Biden worked for Brisma Holdings, and I guess they have some sort of role with oil or something like that, an oil company. I haven't really looked into it too much, but trust me, I'm going to. And somehow Hillary Clinton is connected to this because of an intern. So they're all in cahoots with each other basically. And my question is, why is it that this I'm going to use the word poor, this poor soul is the goat that's going to bring forth this evidence at a time like this where it makes absolutely no sense. Now all the Democrats are saying, we're gonna continue with this. Even the transcripts don't mean anything, and the whistleblower's complaint. Even if it doesn't have anything nefarious in it, we're gonna keep moving forward, and that doesn't make any sense. They're all losing their minds over there, and we know they've lost their minds for a long time now, but the reason, I believe, the reason why this came forward now, today, or yesterday or whatever, is because Joe Biden is the front runner in the Democratic caucus for the candidacy. Okay? Joe Biden is maybe not all there. Joe Biden has made a lot of gaffes. I'm going to say he fucked up a lot. He said a lot of silly shit. So you look at the players that are involved. I should use this hand right here. The players that are involved. You got President Trump, right, making a phone call to the Ukrainian president, congratulatory phone call about his presidency and his win. And it's a benign conversation. They just go back and forth, a little bit of banter. Now, there may or may not have been some mention of an investigation into Biden and Hunter Biden, but probably by the Ukrainian president, because the phone call was all about corruption. Because Ukraine has been underneath a lot of corruption. And President Trump promised that he would do everything in his power to assist Ukraine in eliminating the corruption within their country. So that probably prompted the Ukrainian president into saying something about the corruption with Hunter Biden and Vice President Joe Biden. He probably said it. I'm just guessing. But even if he did say it, and even if that's a whole other question. Even if he did bring it up, how would the whistleblower know this? How would the whistleblower possibly know this? So maybe I don't know. I can't connect those dots. Maybe President Trump said, in a precarious kind of conversation, that something may or may not have been said, knowing that this person is this loyal and is just going to go run to the ODNI and file a whistleblower complaint to prompt this. I mean, this guy is playing chess, and he's like 100 steps ahead of everyone. And so anyway, you got Joe Biden and Hunter Biden up there, right, who allegedly accepted like $1.5 billion from China, I believe. And Nancy Pelosi, who this freaking Yahoo right here, she sits there and she just announces an inquiry to the impeachments without absolutely no evidence, nothing. Mostly because President Trump said, you know what, we're not really going to release any of this stuff, and because there was nothing to release. And then all of this at a prime time where Joe Biden is the front runner within the Democratic caucus for the presidency, and the second in charge, or the second runner-up, very close runner-up, is Elizabeth Warren. And Elizabeth Warren is a socialist. So you get Maxine Waters, AOC, which probably doesn't carry a lot of weight. You get all of the Elijah Cummings. You get all of these people in there. Bernie Sanders. You get all of this pressure into Nancy Pelosi to go forth and say and make a speech as she did, because her political career is at risk. And so she goes forth and says these things. And what's it going to do? It's going to cut Biden out of the presidency, the run for president, and it's going to put Elizabeth Warren front and center. So now we're going to have a socialist Democrat front and center for possibly for the president's the candidacy for the president, running against President Trump. You heard it here first from American Overwatch. This is just my belief, and a little bit of assumptions are made. Some key assumptions are made, and it's just my own personal analysis and hypothesis on the matter. But I think that all of this probably came from Hillary Clinton with the intern that was involved with Prisma Holdings, and they all colluded to get Joe Biden out. Said, no, he's out. Get Joe Biden out of there. He's not going to quit, and he's the front runner. So we need to figure out a way to get him out and get Elizabeth Warren in, because Joe Biden's losing his marbles, and he's a moderate. We need someone who's a little bit more socialist. So let's get Joe Biden out, put Elizabeth Warren front and center, and this is all one big scandal again. The Democrats know no bounds. They know no bounds. It is absolutely insane what they're doing. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. God bless. Have a nice day, and we'll see you on the next one.